And another very good afternoon to all of you watching across the corners of the globe, and welcome to the Sunset Safari, coming to you live from Nkuhuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserves in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. So right up in the top northeastern corner. My name is Jamie. This afternoon I have VM on camera with me, and Jerry sitting on the back. Jerry, of course, our wonderful, multi-talented producer who keeps the wheels turning when they're all threatening to fall off. Not only are we live, but we're also interactive, which means that you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Oh, good news or bad news? The good news is that Wendy lives. The bad news is that Rusty's just died. Well, not died. Rusty's not dead. Rusty, by the way, is one of the other vehicles. Rusty is currently not working. She won't start. She's decided to go on strike. I'm not quite sure what that means for poor Brent and John. Perhaps they won't miss out on the Sunset Safari, but they will be a little bit late. None of us are entirely sure how it happened, but somehow Rusty just... Nope. Not having any of it. But the good news is that we are on Wendy and we're trundling out and about trying to decide where to go for the afternoon. I was, of course, going to trundle off to Cheetah Plains. That was going to be my mission. That might still happen, but that depends very much on how long Brent takes to come out, because otherwise I have to go through some signal black dips, black holes I suppose is a better way of phrasing it, down into the Mulwanini, which means I'd disappear, and without Brent, well, such is life. The inimitable Mr. Henry is on leave. Taylor is also on well-earned leave, as is Brian, Dave. We're back down to skeleton crew for now. But that's okay, because and Louise, and just multiple people. There's just a few of us stalwarts left back on the ground. Rehearsals are over for now, which means you are back to your normal scheduling for the time being, which means 3 hours in the afternoon and 3 hours in the morning, so your sunset drive will not be cut short this afternoon. And without any further ado, let us go and see what we can find. I almost want to play the Guess the Antelope game, which I haven't played in a very long time, and it can't really be done by giving answers and then revealing them a moment later. You just all have to play it at home, where we only show you the legs of the antelope and nothing else. You have to guess from just the legs what it is. I was inspired by VM's opening shot this afternoon of the kudu's legs. Well, let's see if we can find something for you to guess at. Should we go down Ingwe Alley? Doesn't look like anyone's been down there. And depending upon Brent's timetable and what's happening on his side, we will probably pop into the lions and see if they've perhaps moved into a slightly better position than they were in this morning. The NKuhumas were in a very, very thick block. There's also the mystery of Queen Karula to be solved. We know that Karula was seen on the dam camera with her two gorgeous 8-month-old cubs. Karula is a leopard, for those of you who are unfamiliar. So Karula was seen on the dam camera 2 mornings ago, and where she's gone since then is a mystery. We're starting to think she might be in Buffelshoek, but she might just be hanging out in some impenetrable vegetation with the kill. So keep your eyes on the dam camera. We'll definitely, one of us will be lurking around there this afternoon, in the hopes that perhaps she might come and have a drink. Aha! Oh, wonderful! What good timing. Or not, because she's cross. I was about to say, what wonderful timing. No, girl. It's okay. It's alright. You can carry on with your mud bath. See, we've stopped far away from you. What's this silliness now? Okay. It's okay. Okay, you can immediately see that this cow is feeling a little bit nervous and threatened. It's probably because it's very gusty weather. I've also noticed a lot of low-flying helicopters, which make a huge amount of noise, are absolutely necessary as a part of the management of the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, but it does... Oh, they're talking a lot. You can just hear the low rumbles. It does upset the elephants in particular. I don't really want to make an approach at the moment. She's given us a very clear sign in elephant language that she doesn't want us any closer. A sign that I'm going to take seriously. Hey, big girl. Don't get cross. It's fine. We're not doing anything. Just sitting. There you go. I know what's happened. I know why they're so unsettled as well. This herd must have come from where the lions were. This trajectory seems to be exactly right. And I did hear one very angry trumpet a little bit earlier while I was sitting at Inge's house. And I think that's probably an explanation behind why they are so uncomfortable. Either that or they smell the lions, but they don't know exactly where they are. Hey, big girls. Can't really play the leg game with elephants, can you? They sort of take up most of the frame. Besides, they're very recognizable, yes. There's not much out here with legs shaped quite like an elephant. I think they're lovely. But they are solid. They are solidly built animals. Nope, these ellies are not having any of it. Dashing down into the dip. I have to tell you that descent that they've just done is unbelievably steep. You and I would probably struggle to get down there without slipping over a few times. And they've just taken it in their stride. It's very difficult for you to get a sense of, or a perspective of it. But it is very, very steep, which is why, naturally, it is one of Queen Karula's favourite spots. Now, Emma in Australia, lovely question coming through from you, because, of course, we had the ears out display from that female. He wants to know if elephants will communicate more vocally, or is it mostly body language? I would say it's probably a 70-30 split, 70 being body language and 30 maybe being vocalizations. But that being said, that comes from a very human perspective, because I don't speak the nuances of elephant. Here we go, we've got one hidden away there. Maybe they'll give us another rumble. Oh, the body language, I think there is far more to it than we realize. I also think, sorry Brent, stand by one. I also think that in terms of vocalizations, there's a lot of it that we can't hear. So it's difficult to tell exactly what they're saying to each other. I think in the next 50 years we're going to discover all kinds of things. But for now we've got the basics. A head up and open ears means hey, don't come any closer. And we take it from there. Whether it's swinging, I've heard of being able to read. Joyce Poole, for example, who spent a lot of time with elephants, she's learned to read the indecision in just the twirl of the tip of a trunk, which I think is incredible. Now just bear with me 1 second while you've got this amazing view of an elephant in some trees, and let me just chat to Brent quickly on the Game Drive channel. Standing by. Brent, we've got the comms box. It was from Wendy initially, but we were plugging straight into the comms box. Copy. Just describing some of the more technological parts of putting Jigger back together and ready to drive once again. Ephraim. Sorry, everybody. I just need to communicate with some of the other guides. Afternoon, Ephraim. Were there any updates from CP from this morning? Copy that, thanks. No updates from our side. Just Flamir and Love static feeding around Philemon's dip. Copy. Right, I apologize for that prolonged conversation. What shall we do? Shall we continue on, see if there's more elephants that perhaps are slightly more receptive to our advances? I don't know what that was all about. Just an unsettled day, I guess. And it is very warm out here. Well, warmer than it has been. It's 29 degrees centigrade, which is around 84 in Fahrenheit. So nice and warm after our cold snap. Let's go and see what we can find. Cameron, who is 9 years old. Hello, Cameron. I hope you enjoyed that brief elephant sighting. Cameron, you are a very clever little boy, because you figured out exactly what the veins in the elephant's ears do. So Cameron wanted to know, do the veins in the elephant's ears cool them down? That's exactly what they do. So the skin in the ears is really, really thin compared to the rest of the elephant's body. And the blood is very close to the surface, because you saw the veins there. You could actually see the veins of the elephant. So that means that the blood travels close to the surface. And so when the elephant flaps its ears, the hot warmth from the blood goes out into the air, and the coolness from the air flows into the blood. And the blood cools down and flows through the rest of the elephant's body, and therefore manages to cool the elephant down very, very well. So well done, Cameron. You're a very clever gentleman. I am impressed. That is what elephants' ears do. Interestingly enough, if you look at how certain ecologists and biologists who really closely study elephants identify individual elephants, because of course the nicks and the scars in their ears change over time, as do their tusks as they grow. If you look really carefully at them on a really close-up level, the venation of the ears, so the pattern of the blood vessels, is unique like a fingerprint to each and every single elephant. I wonder what the chances are that this is going to flick up and hit me, either me or Viam. Let's find out very gently. Not too bad. Well done, Wendy. Your first big obstacle of your, not quite maiden voyage, but almost. Okie dokie. Right, and I think another nice challenge for this afternoon will be, it's a bit tricky to try and find some birds, but let's see if we can at least get a new cuckoo, or at least new for this season, a new cuckoo species on camera. I saw some red-chested swallows yesterday on the sunset safari, so there's definitely the return of quite a few of the migratory species. Sure. Apparently Brent is nearly ready. He's just going to get an earpiece from Inga's. If he were to have a look perhaps on the dashboard of my vehicle at a DRC, my personal car, he might find one with slightly more ease. And just a casual message there to Kirst to pass on to Brent. He will find an earpiece in my car. The car that he would use to take to Inga's to fetch his earpiece. Just to clarify. Right in front of him. Right in front of him. As in on the dashboard in front of him. So while he disappears off to Inga's to go and fetch his earpiece, let's go and see if we can figure out where these lions are. Afternoon, yours. Brent's just gone off the vehicle for the moment. Yours, Meningi and Love around all of Juma. I've just had some on Philemon's Dip. I'm just going to check up on those Ngala, see if the visual's slightly better from this morning. No problem. So just chatting to Jors. Many of you will know who Jors is. He's one of the landowners of Buffelshoek, which is the property to the north of us, and he just wanted to know if we had any updates for him. I don't know where these lions are. Oops. I haven't got a clue. I'm guessing somewhere here. I think we'll figure it out from the vehicle tracks. Just bear with me one moment. I'm just concentrating to see exactly where they've gone in. This is an incredibly tricky patch of vegetation that all sort of borders a river system known as the Mulwati drainage line. And I say river system as though it has water flowing through it. I think the only time it ever flows is when there's exceptional amounts of rain, which of course we have not had over the past months since I've been living on Djuma. So I'm still waiting to see the Mulwati drainage flow. I'm looking forward to it. I think it would be quite amazing to see. Right. My guess is they are somewhere in here. Just checking to see if Mr. and Mrs. Wahlberg's in, but they're not. Nobody's home. All is quiet at the Wahlberg's eagle nest. I did drive past there yesterday afternoon, which does mean that... Oh, and I saw one of them sitting on the eggs, incubating, which means they have laid. Or probably on an afternoon like this afternoon, possibly even shading eggs. So they have laid their eggs. Let's keep our fingers crossed that Mr. and Mrs. Wahlberg actually managed to raise a chick this year. Okay, well, since we're here anyway, let's pop in. I do still want to go to Cheetah Plains. Apparently Brent is on his way, but let's pop in and see what the lion's up to. And then we'll swap out with Brent and he can take over. I see. Well, in that case, Brent is out and about. I'm going to start making my way to Cheetah Plains, and I will catch up with you shortly.
Well, welcome. Sorry about Gendre and myself's belated start. If you're wondering who myself is, I am, of course, Brent. And we have some impala wandering around in front of me. And we're on our live afternoon drive.
Brent, I just made my way here in case you weren't out. There's lots of people around and at least one set of tracks coming out. Did you know?
Here we go. And unfortunately, we do have open comms on this vehicle. So that was Jamie letting me know. And where'd they go? Right in front of us. Now, one of the things you develop as you live in the bush for a long time is a keen eye. So in the shade directly in front of us, where we were looking at impala, about right there is some, down a little bit. There we go. Some little blue wax bulls. Now, even though the wind's blowing, I'm feeling the need for a birding safari. We will obviously check in on the NKuhumas, but I think it's time to do a little bit of birding. The sunbirds have been avoiding me recently. Now, speaking of birds, one of our firm favourites and one of the noisiest birds out here in the African bush during our summer months is the woodlands kingfisher. Oh, there's a warthog. There's more than one warthog. And Aaron in New Zealand is wondering if we've heard woodlands kingfisher yet. Not yet, Aaron. I think maybe towards the end of the month, if we're lucky. There we go. Last year's baby and mom. There could be a few more around. And isn't it amazing? See how that little one is on its knees there? That's a very, very warthog-like posture. So they actually do that so they can get lower down to the ground and use their snout to dig out the roots of the grass. Now, of course, if you had to crawl around on your knees for the majority of your day, it could become quite painful. So even in the womb, there's hardened, thickened skin on their front knees. And so that has become an evolutionary adaptation over many millennia. Well, there's a red-billed hornbill also scuttling about behind the warthog there. But the warthog are definitely grateful for this new green grass. Okay, let's carry on, see what other wonders the early summer has to offer us here in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve, South Africa. Now this is the first time I've been in this vehicle in a very long time. Get a feel for the old girl again. One thing we do love about Jigger, and you can see if I turn the steering wheel a lot, it moves very. So quite a bit of play, let's just leave it at that. Now, as I said, we're going to try start focus on birds, and I have heard a few of the cuckoos calling already, and James Richard would like to know how many potential species of cuckoo could we possibly see out here. He says he's got 3 on his bird list. So the red-chested cuckoo, the Class's cuckoo, the Deirdre's cuckoo, the African cuckoo, the great spotted cuckoo, the Levalon's cuckoo, or striped cuckoo is another name for it, Jacobin cuckoo, possibly emerald cuckoo, European cuckoo, and I might be forgetting 1 or 2, so 9 so far, but give me a second and I'll reach into the recess of my brain and see if I can remember if there are any other cuckoos. I think there might be 1 or 2, but have only been recorded in the Sabi Sands once or twice, so I think like the barred cuckoo, or some of the other rarer cuckoo species, more rare. Well, there's Jamie. Let's see what she's been. Hello.
Hi again, everybody.
Hello, hello.
I didn't go all the way in. There's lots of ellies in there. And one set of tracks that there's one cub, but were they playing around here?
No, they were fast asleep down there.
Okay, there's a cub track right by your right side.
Oh, look at that. There's 2. Okay. Well, I'll have a look at the other access point if they haven't just moved a little bit that way. If not, I'm going birding.
Well, enjoy.
Enjoy Cheetah Plains.
I'm going to head to Cheetah Plains.
Have fun. Hopefully we'll find a cheetah, because that's something we can't seem to be able to do.
That's Jerry.
Yes. Bye, Jerry.
Hi, Brent.
Jerry, why are you blushing, Jerry? Jerry's blushing. Bye, Jerry. We do love to embarrass the final control staff at any given opportunity. Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look. Now, as Jamie said, there's a lot of elephants where the lions were. So they could have they could have quite easily moved out. So our dam cam aficionados, please keep a lookout for us. See if the Nkuhumas maybe pop up there a little later if we don't have any luck finding them now. Word on Kula is she is down south. So she crossed out of Juma yesterday at some point. But while we have a quick look where the Nkuhumas were, oh, we can see some elephants through the bush. Those must be the ones Jamie was talking about. You got them there, Jean-Andre. The great grey bottom disappearing. Oh, there we go. Oh, the great grey bottom has disappeared. But fortunately, there's a head coming in. So if they happen to find those lines, they definitely might have chased them off. They probably haven't moved too far, so we will check carefully around here. But while we do that, let's go see what Jamie's plans are on her route down to Cheetah Plains.
My plans are, well, there's no real point to having a plan, is there? So we're just going to keep on going south and see what we encounter along the way. The nice thing is, because we're travelling along the boundary of the Mulwati, perhaps these lions decided to come this way. Who knows? And we might also encounter a whole number of interesting birds and beasts. Just ahead of us is a pan, or a sort of a waterhole. It's quite muddy at the moment. I wouldn't say it's very nice fresh water. But there is a big pan known as Chele Pan, where there's often all kinds of interesting things to be found. So we'll stop off there, see if perhaps there's some old buffalo bulls, or... Oh look, here's a herd of buffalo. See? Hi guys, sorry. Hello. Yes, alright, don't halt your forward motion. I'll just shift around here and be out of your way. Hello. Hello, buffalo. Wow. Apparently there's a huge herd on its way to Juma Dam. It's the one thing that we have noticed is the return of the breeding herds. It feels like it's been months that we've had this many buffalo wandering about, and now all of a sudden they're all back at exactly the same time. As to why or how or what guides them, apart of course from food. This is interesting. So, wherever the lions may be, we've got buffaloes in the south going north, and buffaloes north going south. Might even be worth sticking around a little bit, because even though it's warm this afternoon, who knows where this is going to go. Shame. Some of these buffalo are still looking so incredibly thin. A sea of buffalo parting around us. Hello, girls. Yes. Lots of skinny rib cages and hips showing, so they haven't recovered just yet from the effects of the drought, even though the grasses have started to go green and to grow again. And these poor herds of buffalo that we're seeing at the moment, I would say... Oh, panic! Mass panic all of a sudden. I would say that these poor herds of buffalo have been well and truly traumatized by the Nkuhumas. I have seen so many lone females, random tiny little herds of 10 or a couple of buffalo. They've clearly had some miserable experiences right now because, of course, with this little water around, they're forced to go towards the pan, and that's exactly where the Nkuhumas have been living. Though this may well be the herd that lost a member. Gee, they're still going. And the herd that lost its member over to the Nkuhumas on Gowrie Cut Line. Any stragglers before I move and block them from the rest of the herd? Don't think so. No, I think that's it. Poor things. Windy day, jumpy, they can probably smell lions everywhere because the lions were clearly around this area last night. I could see their tracks earlier. Must be a very scary thing being a buffalo. Now, I was going to race off to Cheetah Plains. The fact that there are 2 separate herds of buffalo heading straight towards the Nkuhuma might change things. Let's see how we go. Let's head back across to Brent, who has also got some buffalo, this time heading towards the Nkuhumas in a different direction.
There we go, a nice breeding herd has come down towards the Gowrie Dam, and they're a bit skittish, but I think all the buffalo are skittish in this area at the moment. They've had so many run-ins with lions recently. Now I wonder whether this sound will attract the lions. It should do if the lions are still very close by. Still no small babies. Oh, it is quite a scene. I do love big herds of buffalo. Now, the biggest herd of buffalo I've ever seen was in northern Botswana, and there were over 5,000 in one herd.
Samyanyari is now mobile north in your drainage towards where the lions were. I think I might hang around this area for a little bit longer.
Copy. Now Jamie's got another herd of buffalo heading in the Mawati River, around where the lions were sleeping. So, there could be a bit of action early on this sunset safari. And our list is saying with this many buffalo around, I don't see much incentive for the Nkuhumas to leave anytime soon. I agree with you. Listen, there's actually quite an interesting reason for it. I'm just going to try and pop my nose up. I almost half expect to see a Nkuhuma head pop over the damn wall. And so we had about 30 mils of rain, how about 2 weeks ago or so. But the southern Sabi sands, while we had about 30 mils, only had 2 or 3 mils. So a lot of game has moved up into this northern area. It's okay, buffs. Oh, there's still more coming. So a lot more still coming from the right. You can just see there's like a long line of them heading towards the water. So far, I'd say, from what we can see, guessing probably 150 or so, but as I said, there's still more coming. Look at that one in the middle there. She's decided it's easier to drink while lying down. Making me thirsty. We could be in for a very exciting sunset safari with literally 2 herds of buffalo either side of where we left the Nkuhumas this morning. Although they're not there, I'm pretty sure they can hear this. Or if not this herd, the other herd. Andre, are you up for a challenge? Oh, he landed. Darn. If we go back to that buffalo sleeping in the corner, the one is in the water, just go just beyond to the left. There's a little bird on the edge of the water. Yeah, a little 3-banded plover that was literally zigging and zagging in between the buffalo, trying to find a spot to land. We found one at the head of the head of the waterhole rather than the tail. Dispatch Griffin is wondering, when the drainage lines turn into rivers, how does that impact the drive? Very seldom does it actually impact the drive. When those rivers flow, they flow for a very short period, and we can probably cross them with an hour or 2 of them flowing. And it's very seldom that they'll ever flow for days upon days. So still more coming, but the rest seem to be a bit settled. Now we are right in the Juma Dam hand basin, and I keep sort of half expecting to see an Nkuhuma head pop up over the dam wall looking at us, and looking, or more definitely not looking at us, but looking at the buffalo. Now, as we pan across, there we go, a little bit more, Andre. A little bit more. There's that one. That's probably about the youngest buffalo I've seen in quite some time. I have been keeping my eye out on the herd, and that one's already about 2 years old. So very few youngsters have survived the drought. But while we sit here, I think I'm just going to wait a little bit here to see if the Nkuhumas do make an appearance. And while we do that, we can go see how Jamie's search for the lions with the other buffalo herd is going.
I'm currently moving very, very slowly back in the direction towards where Brent was. Our herd of buffalo is so terrified. They keep running this way and that way and this way and that way. They know that the lions are here somewhere. They can obviously smell them, and they don't know exactly where they are, and it's making them exceptionally nervous with all of this wind. Now, I did have sight of them a moment ago, but I have since lost it. And I figured that the lions have either been chased north or south, because I don't think they've gone very far west. There's a lion. There's a lion. Hey, Jerry! Well spotted. Where did you come from? Where have you been? Why are you here where both Brent and I have checked? Oh, and she's going back in. This is most perplexing. Brent, one fuzzy mobile north along Twin Dams. Just north of the Wahlbergs Junction, but she's going into the Milwaukee now. Where does she come from? Oh, she's going into the Shkova now. How exciting is this? We've both driven past here. The cubs must be here. Now, Adrian, you were wondering how good a lion's hearing is. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with this lion. She is moving particularly quickly. Adrian, a lion's hearing is unbelievably good. Very, very good. So she will be able to hear the buffalo. A herd of buffalo is not a quiet entity. They make a great deal of noise. Jeepers, she's going fast. She's contact calling, actually. I wonder if they got separated by the lions chasing them. Right, let's catch up again. The only problem is once we're in this drainage line, we are not getting anywhere anytime fast. She also looks very full. Very full. I wonder if the Nkuhumas have eaten. Hello, girl. Where have you been hiding, and what on earth is going on? She's calling. Let's just see where she decides to go. She's contact calling. This lioness is not interested in hunting buffalo. I can't tell if that blood around her is from a kill or hers. I don't think it's hers. What's on her elbow there? Is that stomach contents, maybe? Did the Nkuhumas make a kill? It would explain why the elephants had been so nervous. Perhaps they encountered them. She's still calling. Okay. This is a mystery to be solved. I wonder if the Nkuhumas didn't make a kill right somewhere close to Inga's. It's possible. If it was something small, Brent and myself might not have heard it. Hold on, everybody. Oh. I wish I could have seen where she's come from. My guess is not quite in front of Inga's. I think Brent and I would have heard them feeding if they were right outside quite literally right outside our bedroom window. So my guess is further that way. I don't see any more lionesses on their way. Perhaps our skittish buffalo herd had already encountered them. Where is she gone now? Where is she? I think that's her there. Got her. Hold on. She's now standing in a guarri bush. I'm not entirely sure why. This is all very interesting. I think they've made a kill somewhere. Oh, where's she gone now? This is not the easiest area. It's full of potholes. She's calling. There she comes. Just listen. You can hear her. There's no point in repositioning for a better view just yet because she's still moving. She's looking for the rest of the pride. Is it because she's made a kill and she's trying to call them? Perhaps the rest of them have been chased by the elephants. Hold on. This is a bit bumpy. Woo! She's going to come out in front of us. Unfortunately, this is the angle we're going to have to go with for now. I want to just make sure our engine is off so that we can hear her and she can hear the rest of the pride. Orbs, she's mobile now into the drainage again. I think is it Aubrey or Tax? Aubrey. Still calling. Let's go catch up with her. Once we're in here though, she came out of that block to the south of where that Wahlberg's nest. I'm not sure if she hasn't made a kill. Where is she gone? Okie dokie. I can see her now moving. She's looking for the rest of the pride. I think they've been chased by elephants. She might even be looking for just the cubs. She's mobile south again down the drainage. Maybe that 2-track from this morning. Oh, sorry everybody. It's difficult to try and tell everybody who's asking me constantly where to go. The answer is I don't know where to send them just yet. Negative. There were lots and lots of ellies here earlier. They must have been chased. Oh! Come on, up we get. Okay. Hi everybody! Oh, I see. Do you mind if I nip round you? They found themselves a little scrub here. We can come back and have a look at the scrub here. Let's go figure out what this lioness is doing first. I think half the pride has been chased. The cubs are being chased away. I wonder if the lionesses didn't leave them there, go hunting, and then return to find that the cubs have, true to instinct, which is a good thing, run away. Now, Roger, you were wondering, you were saying, I hope the cats are okay. I think they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. For the most part, injuries, or lion cubs, or even lions killed by elephants do not are not very high in number. It's very, very unusual. Just before we go down, because I can't easily get back out, let's just stop and listen. See if she's still calling. Chances are if she's made a kill, she's gonna, when she does find the cubs, she's going to come back this way. Orbs, you can make your way down and around me if you want. I haven't got visual of her at the moment. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure if it's your radio or my radio that's not working well.
Jumping fast.
Can hear her. She's coming back around. There she's in here. She's still calling. No, she's not. She's here. She's already south and east of me now. I'm just taking my earpiece out for 1 second, just to try and get a direction. I think she's in here. Yeah, she's definitely in here. She's calling more urgently now, slightly louder. Oof, if I risk this anymore, we're going to go tumbling down into the drainage itself. Let's head back and try and get around to where she is. I can hear her in here. Just here. In fact, no, that's not her. Alright, hold on everybody. Let's see if we can solve this mystery. Am I going to reverse into a hole if I go back this way? No. Now am I going to? That's unfortunate. Thanks for the warning. I think they came out. Oh, I can still hear her. I think lionesses came out, hunted, caught something, and now they've lost the cubs because the cubs are being chased. There she is.
Afternoon, all mobile stations, any updates?
Where is she? I can hear her. There she comes. Okay. Which way are you gonna go now, girl? Sorry, everybody. I know she's right behind the vehicle. When she's close to us like this, I'm trying to minimize the amount of noise around her so that if the cubs do call back, she will be able to hear them. Alrighty. Let us, poor Jerry's having to, and VM are having to perform acrobatics on the back here. Oh no. Sorry, everybody. And back again. Okay, she's going back in. She's going in that side. Okay. try and move out of everybody's way, having blocked the guest pictures completely and very efficiently. I didn't do it though, the lioness did. I feel very guilty. I've got some very dirty looks from the guests on the back of the vehicle. Sorry. We're just going to let Aubrey go ahead to make up for that slight faux pas. There we go. William's telling them that they've got to kill that. The rest of the pride has gone this way. Copy. I thought I saw those in Konzo, but she came from that direction. Now, Mary, you are slightly freaking out that they've lost the cubs again. They've lost somebody. Remember how I said at the very start of the sunset drive to Brent, you've got a cub track right next to your wheel. The cub tracks are right there where we've just come past. Now, Aubrey's going along that way to see whether or not the cubs are there. She might even just have gone looking for one of her sisters. Orbs, will you keep me updated that side? I'm going to stay with her. In theory, I'm going to try and stay with her. I know that many of you are very worried about the cubs. I'm sure the cubs are fine. I think this happens more than we realize. It can't be... You got her there. It can't be that easy to keep track of an entire bundle of 8 cubs when you've got to go out and do the grocery shopping and hope that they're still where you left them. Oh, she's definitely made a kill. That's definitely blood. And it's not hers. You ladies are incredible. Windy day, settled spot by a waterhole. She'll find them. She's determined. Although she should probably stop searching the places she's searched already. Although maybe there's method to what she's doing. Go, call, wait, come back and check. Go, call, wait, come back and check. I guess that makes sense. No, I'll leave Aubrey to track. Where would those cubs have run? She is going to keep... It's not going to be like the situation where the 2 cubs disappeared. And the reason it's not is because she's clearly looking. She's either looking for 8 cubs or she's looking for another member of the pride. But when the 2 little cubs went missing, the lionesses were not calling. Look, she's now actually sniffing really, really carefully. She's got her nose right in the guarri bush. Now she's actively searching, whereas with the 2 missing cubs, the lionesses didn't actively search for too long. Here she's clearly focused. She's still, you can hear she's still calling. Sorry, I'm having major problems with my game drive comms, which isn't helping because I'm trying to hear what Aubrey's saying, because he's gone to look for the kill that she's made. Okay, back we go. Still calling. Now what also sometimes happens is she might have got separated from the rest of the group, killed something on her own, perhaps like an impala or a kudu, which is easily within the means of a lioness. The rest of the pride might have killed something else, again, easily possible for the Nkuhumas, part of the same herd perhaps. Come on, Wendy. Up you go. Wendy's still having minor power problems. So that's also distinctly possible, and that she got separated, and perhaps even in a situation where the cubs have been called by one of the other females. And let's try and do this. And she's gone back to fetch them with her kill, and is now very confused as to why they're all gone. Meanwhile, they've been shepherded by the other females. So that's also a distinct possibility. There we go. Can hear she's calling louder now. Standing by yours. That's her, yours. Just one Mufuzzy. She looks as though they've got to kill somewhere, but she's looking for them at Pimpuns. Tax and Orbs are here with me as well. Enjoy, guys. Okay. These sightings are about to converge, I think. Let's send you back across to Brent as that lioness makes her way in that direction. Oh, she led her.
Now we just came to have a look here. These elephants just trumpeted at something and took off. But apparently I just heard the lion's about to join us. With all the buffalo, there's impala and elephants. But I'm just going to swing around because apparently that lion is on its way here. Just get hold of Jamie. Jamie. Oh, there's an old female here. And a yellow bulldog picker, yay!
Section, confirm there's 3 movers there.
Look at that, yellow.
Positive, Aubrey's really close to the south from where I am. But she's just going up and down here.
Look at that, we haven't seen them for so long. I'm quite excited. I haven't seen a yellow bulldog picker in quite some time. And it's on a very old buffalo cow.
I'm going to take a standby unit there. Thanks.
Well, we're not doing too bad with birding while surrounded by big game so far on this sunset safari. Off it goes. Now I'm just going to try and get hold of Jamie.
She's going down now.
Well, it's buffalo moving away. I just want to see where they're going. I think they're going to head north. Why are you looking so jumpy? Oh, look. There's there's a bushbuck. Do you see the bushbuck, Chandra? Okay, where are you? I'm just looking. A little bit to the right. To the right of the eddies. Zoom. There, at the back, a little bit. Right at the back, at the edge of the bush. Oh, look there, my favorite antelope, the bushbuck. What's all happening here? We've got buffalo, we've got elephants, we've got impala, bushbuck.
Back here again, but she just went more north into the drainage line. Okay, I'm gonna wait here for a
I'm
while.
just listening to the radio for a second. Oh, it's a big herd of impala jogging down into the basin. Here we go, here they come. I love the fact when one impala starts running.
Aubrey, do you know where she did come from? Just on the north side of the dam, or the southern side of the dam.
Okay, we're just going to sit here. And actually, I want to know what those elephants are so upset about. Oh dear. I don't know whether it's just a young bull being really upset with the buffalo and chasing them around, because the buffalo look quite calm. Yes, see, there's an elephant on the other side of the buffalo. Maybe that's what's happening. Where did that elephant go? There it is. Look at him chasing it. Look, he's charging the herd. In the distance, I just saw him charging through the buffalo. You can hear him. Yeah, coming straight over the termite mound. Right through the middle. So I think, there we go. Got left behind by the rest of the herd we just saw, and then suddenly had a wall of buffalo between her and the rest of her herd, and so decided that the most direct route was probably... Oof, noises. It's okay, girlie. So she's trying to communicate to the rest of the herd now. We can still hear her. And the rest of the herd have headed further to the west, and the buffalo look quite nonplussed after being plummeted through the centre of. You can hear a lion calling. I can hear a lion roaring. So I got an elephant screaming and a lion roaring, got a buffalo herd, don't know where to go. Elephant's still screaming. Maybe it's the rest of the pride that she's looking for. You see something? Or are you just coughing? Okay. Next time, please say, "Excuse me, Jean-Jacques." I'm joking. No, for coughing. I think there was something attacking us from behind. Okay, so it sounded like there was a lion around here somewhere. Wow. That elephant is really upset, still screaming away. It sounds like Taxon's got tracks of the rest of the pride heading south. Now, we've just heard that, I didn't think it was quite, I think it was a bit more than a contact call. I'm just going to listen for a second. It sounded more like a sort of halfway between a roar and a contact call. But Chai Connie is wondering, how far can a lioness's contact call be heard from? All depends on the wind, but not normally from too... I think it's the same lioness that's with Jamie, directly in front of us here.
Are you happy for me to stay with us for Fuzzy and Gala? And there's 3 vehicles on lock now, but if you want to come back in, just let me know.
So I'm sure that's the one Jamie's with. You can hear. Sorry, Connie. So probably not more than a kilometre or so at most. And with a wind like this, if those animals are south and she's to the north, not even that. I mean, a couple of 100 meters. She'd have to be very close for them to hear when she's doing that low calling. I think Jamie's going to stay with this lioness, and I'm going to do a bit of a wider loop to see if there's anything else further to the south. So while we go see if we can find the rest of the pride, let's go back to Jamie, who's got a lion in the hand.
You say a lion in hand, but she is now in the bush, which I suppose is a very weird variant of that proverb. I think she's going to lead us to the rest of the pride. She just hadn't realized they'd come in this direction as well. She knows it now. She's been following their scent trail. I've been watching her do it, and she's going to lead us there. We just have to follow on behind. Here we go. Oh, Rob in Liverpool. Lovely to hear from you, and thank you for sending through your question. Rob, you wanted to know how long a lioness can be separated from the rest of her pride. It depends on the reason, Rob. The most common reason, of course, would be mating, in which case she'd be separate from the pride for a good 5 or 6 days whilst she's mating with a male. She could be separated from the rest of her pride for weeks, months even at a time, particularly in a situation where she's got cubs and the rest of the pride don't, and there's a male takeover, which kind of what happened to the Nkuhumas at one point, where they were separated from the rest of the group. So I think it was the oldest female and the sub-adult that were, for a long time, they were separate from the other three, the amber eyes and the 2 young females. And we noticed that happening a great deal in the initial stages of the Birmingham boy takeover. So it can be quite a frequent thing. It happens very, very often in certain circumstances. After a certain amount of time, though, there's a good chance that the lioness will not rejoin her pride permanently. So I'm talking about for months at a time. If she's gone for over a year, then there is a chance that she'll stay separate. That being said, there are exceptions to that rule. So there's often cases of lionesses be gone for up to a year, even longer, and then reuniting with their pride and staying with them for the rest of their lives. It's entirely circumstantial. I'd love to know what the story was here. I think 2 things got chased. I think pride went one way, she went another. She killed something on her own. She's come back to the last place that she knows the cubs were, going, guys, I got us food, I got us food. And they've already got food somewhere else. You know, all along, I wonder if those elephants weren't a really good indication as to what was going on there. She seems to be leading us straight to them. Our very start of the sunset safari with that upset elephant cow. And I said perhaps they'd encountered lions. Perhaps that happened much earlier, or perhaps that happened to be much closer than I realized. Where's she gone? Oh yes, there is a kill in that tree. I wonder how long that's been there. Right, a kill in a marula tree. Okay, now what? How fresh is that kill in the marula tree? What do we investigate first? How long has that been there? How did we miss it? Is Karula here somewhere? That would be ridiculous. Oh, what to do? Okay, Taxon's on the lioness. Let's go and have a look at that kill. Let's just see how fresh it is. My goodness gracious, have we missed something so close? What? No. It's not a kill. Is it? It's a piece of bark. It's a piece of bark. I don't know how it's fallen like that, but it's a piece of bark. Alright. Nature, distraction number 1. I see it. We were fooled, but that we're going to get right back on the trail of the lioness. I feel silly, especially because Taxon must think I'm really silly now. It was into the sun in my defense. Just checking here for lion tracks as we go along. She's now cut a little bit towards Philemon's dip. Right, as we go crashing through, I need to concentrate on finding out what's happening. Let's head across to Brent.
While Jamie follows that lioness, I've just headed a little bit further south, and I'm just making sure that there isn't a kill or something around here. And I think once I've looped through here, I might go take a gander even further south, see if we find any sign of Queen Karula.
Yeah, over here, Jamie and Dixon. Still looking at my body, trying to see where she's going. Nothing else changed.
Sorry, I just need to take.
Okay, come in, yeah. Don't let them go so here.
There you go. So Aubrey had the exact same idea as me, and he says the tracks are up there. I didn't realise that, so he's had the exact same idea. The tracks are heading further to the south. Hi, Annie. Annie's wondering if there's been any update on the Styx Pride. And Annie there has. They were on a buffalo kill with one of the Birminghams a couple of days ago. And there are still 2 cubs, but they're not looking well. Almost no hair on them whatsoever. Okay, it seems like there's about to be a traffic jam down there. That lioness is still heading that way, so we're going to head... Oh! Lion and buffalo? Individual standoff. Oh, where did that come from? Aubrey, I was behind you. There's a buffalo chasing one Satya Ngala here. I think that... So there's... Now, look at this. Isn't this absolutely incredible? You can see the blood on her. I can't see if there's any damage to the buffalo just yet. Now, where are the rest of the pride? Yeah, I've got one Satyangala and one Nyari chasing her on the Jigga Jigga road, but back to the west.
I heard the audio from Antoine.
She's calling. Buffalo, what are you doing by yourself? Oh, look, as the buffalo turns, oh, and then the buffalo turned around. So as the buffalo turned its back to her, she immediately, that instinctive, let me jump on you.
Do you want me to go to the southern side of the Nkuhuma?
Oh, look at this. Come wider, John Day.
Aubrey coming?
Look at that. So now, that buffalo, every time she turns around, maybe the lioness is trying to chase her. Now, will the buffalo take a chance to escape, or is she going to keep pushing home her advantage? It wouldn't be incredible if a male lion sort of burst out of the drainage line. Tactics, let me lead the buffalo towards the pride. And you can see that buffalo's hips showing. She's still calling. Try and get a bit closer. Oh, now wait. Let's see what happens if that. So every time that buffalo's turned her back and tried to move away from the lion's come for her again. So I can't see the lion. Can you, Jean-Andre? And she's there just ahead of that buffalo. Can still hear her calling. Okay, let's go a bit closer. There we go, and just make them out through there. Okay. She's still chasing. It's the buffalo taking her chance. Oh, see, as soon as that buffalo turns around, the lioness pops up behind her again. Now, this is a buffalo cow. Monty's wondering how far away is the herd. Monty, there's multiple herds around, so it's difficult to say. But the herd we were with is actually quite far from her now. That buffalo knows as soon as it turns and runs, it could be trouble. It looks like the lioness might give up, but will the instinct of the buffalo to put forward its advantage take over? she left now. Is she going to head into the drainage?
Let's stop them because they almost head southeast. But chill up here. Maybe look nicely somewhere.
Oh, there she is. She's going to come out across. What do you got there? Sorry, Jean, I was watching the lion. Yeah, how skinny she is. Yes, she is not in the greatest condition, but the lioness has left her. So good on you, girlie. You managed to see off the Nkuhuma, the single Nkuhuma. Let me just find out. Okay. We're gonna. Oh, something else has spotted it. Impala. Can you hear them snorting?
Heading along the Darwin cut line for you to the dam. We approach.
Can you copy me? It's yours from article.
Okay. Well done, Buff.
Mossberry, and we coming along the Darwin cut line. Can we approach for you to?
Yeah, what I did is I've left the area because Dixon is there, Aubrey is there, and Jamie is there. They're still looking for that impala, so I think we must stay away a little bit.
Okay, well done, old girl. That's why she survived. She's got not only the genetic makeup to make it through the drought, but she's also got those instinctive wiles to defend a lion. So, okay, we're gonna. Now, Auntie Lynn was wondering over that lioness's chances would have increased if it managed to get the buffalo into a thicket. Not necessarily. I think the best way for that lioness to increase her chances is to add another lioness. But I think that was more of an instinctive attack and chase, and they just she happened to come upon it. But she's looks like she's already made a kill somewhere. She's just looking for the rest of the pride. Let's see where Jamie is. Jamie. Jamie, do you still have that other lioness?
Negative, Brent. I think that's the one you've got or had. I'm on chilling plan at the moment, just checking carefully for tracks.
Copy, thanks. So we've lost her. She went down into the drainage heading south. Aubrey, I think, might have her on the other side. Okay, we'll just keep checking this area.
For me, in hindsight, I think those yari that we had that was so nervous, I think they've probably got one of them something here.
Copy, thanks. So as Jamie, she's checking where the tracks of the rest of the pride are going. And in the beginning of drive, she said she had some really nervous buffalo, and it could be a strong possibility that one of those buffalo fell to that incredible NKuhumas. But let's go hear it from Jamie herself.
We are still on the search for these lions. Where have they gone? What has happened? Hindsight is an interesting thing, because we were wondering about that herd of... trying to listen to the game drive comms as well, with half an ear and half a brain. We were wondering about that buffalo herd that was... You get that gormless expression that we do when we trying to listen to the game drive comms at the same time. Just to figure out where these lions are. They're on a kill. I'm sure they've got a buffalo. I'm sure that is the reason that our herd was as nervous as they were, and now it's just a matter of figuring out where, and it's probably somewhere in the block off to my right. I just want to make really sure that we don't miss any tracks. I'm probably going to do one more circuit and then leave it up to Brent, depending on what he's planning on doing. Both, at some point, Aubrey, Tax and myself and Brent are going to find them. It's just a matter of working out exactly where they are. In fact, I think they're closer to that side, and I almost want to go and sit and listen. Where should we go and sit and listen? Let's find a nice spot. There's also a suspicious lack of all other general game, which also makes me think there was a buffalo chase through this area. Now, Tether Apocalypse, my apologies. You are a new viewer. Cheddar Apocalypse. Cheddar Apocalypse, that sounds terrifying. Cheddar Apocalypse, you want to know what we mean by drainage. So a drainage system is exactly that. It's where water drains, and essentially what it makes is an almost like a creek system or a river system. So let me show you. I'll show you an example here. This is perhaps not the best example. No, we'll start with this because this is how it starts. So we've got an erosion gully here. So essentially where the water's been running down and it's washed away and created this, what we would in South Africa would call a donga, that then runs into a depression that is essentially a dried up river. Here, look, I'll show you. Gives us a nice chance to stop and listen as well. Come, let's go down into the drainage line, and then I can show you exactly what I mean. This is a big drainage line. It's the biggest drainage line on Nkuhuma. It's also sort of what you would know as a creek system, except drainage lines tend to be dry for the most part and run only when there is plenty of rain, which of course we have not had terribly much of that at all. There we go. Voila. A drainage line. As you can see, it's got tire tracks.
Anything happening that side?
Just checking for some tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's very loud. Let me turn that down. So no tracks of the Pride coming here. I just heard over the radio, that's why it was so loud, because I was wandering around, that there seen some vultures down there. But Jamie and Tax and Aubrey, I'm quite certain, have this under control. So why don't we go look for a leopard? Now I think, we can only sort of guess at what happened, is that possibly a herd of buffalo wandered into the NKuhumas during the heat of the day. And I mean, we didn't hear anything, but that's, with the strong wind we've got at the moment, that's probably quite likely. If the wind was blowing in the wrong direction, we wouldn't have heard anything during the day. But still exciting stuff. Action all over the place. Now, what's happened is that why we've suddenly got this massive influx of buffalo and even more elephant than we had before, which seems near impossible, is when we had that rain, as I said, we've had about 30 or so millimeters up here. Down south towards the Sand River, they had 2 or 3 mils. So I think that's pushed a lot of the buffalo further to the north. What track's that? There's buffalo tracks running in every which direction around here. And I think we'll go down south towards a tree house, and or maybe take Shabam, see if maybe the Queen has decided to grace us with her presence. There's just buffalo tracks everywhere. Everywhere I look, buffalo tracks. Masses of buffalo on Nkuhuma at the moment. Quite nice. We haven't had this many buffalo for a long time. Oh, thirsty workout here. Fortunately, my water is a little bit cleaner than the pans. We'll leave Steph to drink out of the pans. I think I'll keep my ice water with me. Yeah, well, we're going to keep slowly meandering through, checking around here. While we do that, it seems like Jamie's found some signal again.
And I do apologise for disappearing off your screens like that. Apparently the drainage line explanation was a little bit too much for Wendy's signal. But look who we found again, our poor herd of elephants that we encountered at the start of the Sunset Safari that were terribly, not unimpressed with us, but just sort of gave us a gentle note not to come any closer, the ones that encountered the lions. And now we're back with them once again. We are seriously hotting up in terms of finding these lions. I think that Brent will be on his way to where Aubrey and Taxon are directing us to their tracks. Tax has found a whole load of vultures, so there we go. We're going to find them very soon. In which case, I'm content. Excuse me. That wasn't what I was content to do. I was going to say I'm content to sit with these elephants and enjoy their company a little bit. And so I'm relatively certain that Tax is about to find the kill and Brent's about to be there. And slowly making their way up the drainage line and giving us a beautiful view of its lovely head. Looks like a young male actually. Slightly thicker tusks, and although the forehead shape isn't quite there just yet, in other words, young male elephants have roundish foreheads whilst females have angular. Either way, giving us a lovely view. What a lovely question. That's a question I'm going to need to ask all of you at home. Sean's question, thank you for it, Sean, because I'm about to learn something, and it's something I feel like I should have known. Sean's question is, how many beats per minute does an elephant's heart beat? I'm going to guess at and say something like around 20. For some reason the figure 29 jumps out at me, but that seems ridiculous. 30? How many times a whale's heart beats incredibly slowly? I'm just trying to think back on the elephant darting moments that I've done, and rhino darting, big animals with very, very large hearts. And it's usually a very, very slow heartbeat, but that being said, that's also when they're under anesthetic. So, somebody please help me, those of you at home, please tell me how many times an elephant heart beats per minute, because I don't know. I'm guessing at quite a slow beat. It is a massive, massive heart. If a resting human, when they're quite fit or when they're in sort of good health, sits around 60, and this elephant, I say 30, it could even be a little bit lower. I'm interested to hear what the answer is. Let's see if we can get an answer to Sean's question. Sean, my apologies for not knowing, but I am very, very curious. Brent, I did copy. I'm on Twin Dam's elephant carcass. Tax Twin Dam's elephant carcass. I can make my way in. Look at that. Shame. I'm just getting instructions to get into this sighting. Sorry, everybody. Copy that. Thanks very much, Tax. I'm afraid to say our Cheetah Plains plans have been foiled. Brent said he is a little bit far to make his way towards the lions, but the great news is that means we can make our way towards these lions. Shame. Poor Taxon is busy talking and giving me instructions, and I'm not listening to him at all. The herd of buffalo. This is obviously a split from him. I think they do have a kill. Here comes another lone bull. Shame. They've had a very rough day. Probably just when they thought they were safe. from the attentions of the predators on a hot day in the middle of the day, the Nkuhumas proved once again why they are such an unstoppable, determined force. But these are the lucky ones, the survivors. No wonder our little herd was so small and so nervous. Okay, everybody, let's go and have a look. Let's go and see if cubs are all safe and sound. Liam, did you get Curtis's answer at all? I did a terrible thing, I'm sorry everybody, on the subject of big animal heartbeats. I didn't do a terrible thing. A tree did a terrible thing. That's my radio antenna. So Curtis has given us the answer to the elephant question, and I think it is 30 standing. 30 beats per minute, which means, woo, I got it right. That was... Oh, and Wendy doesn't want to start. And speeds, oh, I get what Kirsty's saying. Okay, so thank you very much, Curtis. Sorry, my boy, do you mind if I come past? I do want to just make my way towards these lions. Thank you. Thank you, boy. I know you've had a rough day. I know. But you survived, it's okay. Shame. I always feel sorry for them when they look at you with those desperate eyes after they've been chased by lions. So apparently, thank you so much to Curtis for setting that through, because that's really interesting. An elephant's heart beats at 30 beats per minute, but interestingly enough, and as opposed to most mammals, it slows down, speeds up when they lie down. And most human beings, obviously, our resting heart rate when we're lying down, we're completely relaxed. Now, I'm assuming the reason that it speeds up is because all of that pressure is placed on the chest cavity, so the heart can't inflate to the same level that it might otherwise. So it's got to compensate for the loss of volume by beating faster to spread more blood around. Sorry, Tax. Yes, standing by. I'm on Elephant Carcass. I'm about to come onto Weaver's Nest. Okay, copy that. I'll try that approach. Might be easier from that side. Alrighty, while we go and find your lions and find out if all Nkuhumas have been safely reunited once again, let's head back across to Brent to find out what he's up to.
I'm on Central, Birmingham.
Okay, we've just made our way towards the west here, and I'm trying to get an update. It sounds like there might be a leopard on Arethusa. Sean.
Sean.
I'm not the only one looking for Sean.
Can I Baba stand by behind you? Stand by through that. Yeah.
Sean, if you can copy, confirm what's the exact position, and if it's on Safari and Dow, can I grab a standby 3?
It's on the cut line, Triple F South, between Hoffman's and Shirley. Visual is from Triple F South.
Copy, thanks very much. Next time then.
Give you a shot there, go Brent. Where's NKuhumas?
They've just caught a buffalo in the last 2 hours around Weaver's Nest, Chelepan.
Oh, okay, copy. Okay, thanks. Copy, thank you, man.
Copy, thanks. Any updates on Shadow?
Any luck on?
Any other ingres towards sort of Maraken side or Sibamidi side?
Been a big female in the camp today from Lobcorn, and she wears straight south. We've had the last thing called Central Junction. Lots of traffic.
Not good for us at the moment. Okay, copy. Thanks very much. I'm going to stick in the north. Okay, so back to the northern channel. So that leopard, I could not hear who it was, is unfortunately So we can drive on Triple M, which we're on, Triple M North, which is where we are, but that is Triple M South, below Arethusa, so unfortunately we can't get there. So you know what? We're being lazy. Why do we want to go to other people's leopards? Let's go find our own leopard. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you want to ask any questions. But there has been so much action already on the Sunset Safari. I'm quite happy to go try look for some birds again. Now, of course, there's always a chance of other leopards making an appearance, and you never know what's out there. And that's the joy of being live in the African bush. So, unfortunately, at the moment, I'm on a handheld radio, and sometimes I have to hold it in the sky to hear what's being said. So could you go again, please, final control, now that my... I think it is a wire side, a new viewer, welcome. He said, what happened to the cheetah cubs after the baboon chased them the other day? Well, it wasn't a cheetah, it was actually a leopard. And luckily, both those leopard cubs are fine. They're 100% fine. They managed to avoid the baboons. Oh, now this road has become very corrugated again. I'm trying my best to not give you a shaky safari. And the first opportunity we get shall be leaving this main road. Or we could go try and find some ellies to spend some time with. And the options are endless. Or we could play the stop game. Now, a lot of you might not know the stop game. So, sometime in the next hour, when we get as many tweets saying stop with using the hashtag Safari Live, and providing I am not next to an elephant or a lion, I'll stop and jump out of the car and tell you 10 interesting facts within 10 meters of the car. Now, there's a little female grey duiker. And normally they disappear at a rate of knots, so quite nice to have a nice prolonged view of the duiker. Did you hear that? I thought I heard a zebra as well. I can't see any zebra, but there could be some around. Move a little bit further forward. Sorry, can't hear a thing. Ah, thank you, Jean-Ray. So now, see, this is quite complicated. So Jean-Ray is off this radio that has an aerial, and I'm off this radio. But so Jean-Ray has given the question through to me. Thank you, Jean-Ray. Vanessa would like to. What was the question again, Jean-Ray?
What do you enjoy most about your job, and what is your
favorite memory?
Animal.
All right. Vanessa would like to know, what do I enjoy most about my job, and what is my favorite animal? Well, my favorite animal, hands down, without a doubt, is the African wild dog. It's about as excitable as me, and it also likes to go fast. And poor Steph has heart failure when I find wild dogs, because I will pretty much go anywhere to stick with them to see what they're up to. my favourite part about my job, well, I get to spend my job in the African bush and get to see most sunrise and sunsets every day. I mean, what could be better than that? I'm going very slowly for Jean-Ray so we don't rattle the camera. We've got to make it as far as that pole over there before we can leave the Rattley Road. Unfortunately, the animals sometimes quite like to use the Rattley Road, so we have to use it from time to time to look for the footprints of the different animals. Maybe if I do this, Jean-Ray, maybe I'll hear the better then. What do you think? Start a trend, wear your radio on your collar. No, it's not working. Let me put it higher. Yes. Let's test. Yes, I can hear again. There we go. So now I'm going to get very tired if I have to sit like this for the whole drive. I think let's move back to the north and go have a squiz around. Maybe let's go to Sydney's waterhole. I haven't been there in a while. Okay, so while I give our new aerial a break, Jamie has got to the NKuhumas who are feeding their faces.
I think Brent has sent you across to us. Unfortunately, our radio communications have not gone terribly well. However, I have wonderful news for all of you. All 8 cubs, all 5 lionesses, 1 small buffalo, and all in all a happy family scene. We will reposition in a moment to get a slightly better view of the pile of feeding lions in front of you. I just thought that this was such a stunning view of the cubs on top of a termite mound that I couldn't resist showing them to you. Aren't they absolutely beautiful? Oh, some anger overfeeding. Vim, any idea what Kirst is saying? No, me neither. Hold on, Kirst. I'm going to try fix something while everybody looks at the lions. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go quiet. I'm just going to try and sort out our minor problem. In theory, I may make things worse. Oh no. Oh! Don't talk now, Kirsty. You are very much on open comms. Here we go. That should be better. Okay, Kirsty, you are free to talk. Sorry, everybody, about that.
Being testing, how do you copy?
Very well. Very well, Kirst. I think most of the people on the LiveSafari copied very well. Aren't we all chuffed? That's interesting.
Lovely.
There you go, everybody. Now you get to hear the wonderful voice of Kirsty McLennan-Smith, who I now think is actually in closed comms. One more time, Kirsty. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Negative. Testing.
Yeah. Ah, there we go. Okay. We are sorted. We are sorted out. My apologies, everybody. The secret to our questions has been answered. That's how we get your questions through to us, is the voice of Kirsten McLennan-Smith, who has provided us with a lovely introduction. Should have got her to introduce the lions. Talk about the lions for a little bit. Oh, there's a Birmingham boy there as well. Oh, look at this little one. Up in the tree. That looks like a very precarious position. Little one, you really look as though you're going to fall down. Oh, I hope you're getting some amazing screenshots, everybody. This is truly spectacular. best toy ever. Doesn't matter how much time we spend with these amazing little fur balls, it just never gets old. Not interested in trying to push its way into the feeding frenzy that's currently happening with the buffalo carcass. The lion cub has found itself a wonderful chew toy, although a sibling has come to investigate and see whether or not it can join in. Perhaps there's enough space for two on this false marula tree. In the meantime, the vibrations of the growls of the adults and some of the cubs are rumbling through my chest. A truly fearsome sound. That is one brave little cub, desperately trying to push its way in. And generally the mothers will give the cubs a smack, but it's usually quite gentle. Descent from the termite mound to come and see whether or not maybe there's a place for him. Sorry, her, to go and feed. Look at that one's approach, which is to lie flat on its side and chew from there. That looks like a really dangerous position. Lions' table manners are somewhat different to ours. They don't bother too much about the niceties of please pass me the salt and pepper, and usually this is very, very common to watch around a fresh lion kill. The lionesses aggressively growling at each other. What is unusual is the lack of interest that the male is displaying. Perhaps this not as fresh as a kill as I thought. Perhaps he's already eaten, and this is the first time the rest of the pride has an opportunity to feed. Someone's having a tantrum for not being able to eat. I have done a head count, those of you perhaps concerned about missing lions and cubs, and as I said, there are definitely 8 cubs here, so all are present and accounted for. Obviously that female thought she'd go and fetch her cubs, only to find that they'd already been fetched. Use the termite mound as a pillow until it's time to go and feed. Let me go forward for you a little bit. There is such a sweet scene. Oh, I stopped now. But let me go forward for you anyway, so that you could see the Birmingham boy as well. There we go. Oh, big yawn. There's the Birmingham boy. The one with the split lip, who has been with the Nkuhumas for a considerable period of time, over the last week or so. I'm very surprised that he's not standing guard over the carcass. I think it's something that his slightly bigger coalition mate, the one with the injury on his face, oh, that was a very neat little hop. I think that's something that is character driven. I think obviously the split-lip Birmingham boy is more content to share when he's not too hungry, of course, than the Birmingham boy with the hole in his face, with the injured face. Lionesses with their full bellies not too long ago already have managed to provide for their cubs once again. What a contented family scene. Now SP Nathan, It is fantastic to have you on board our sunset safari. You want to know how often do lions need to feed in the wild? Well, the answer to that is they usually feed about once every 3 days. They can go for much, much longer without food, but that's the sort of average that they will spend between meals. But that again also depends on the meal. I love the way the cubs growl back. Such an incredible thing. It depends on what they've caught as well. So they could have a buffalo kill that lasts, a massive buffalo kill that could last them for 3 days and then leaves them full for a while. Oh, look at that. That yaw nearly encompassed the entire cub's head. Dad showing his teeth. It is very much dependent upon what they kill, and also now with the Nkuhumas, with their 8 little cubs that are now almost fully weaned, they're killing a buffalo every 2 days, it feels like. They've done such an amazing job recently, and it's all been around Juma. Another big yawn from the male. You might even perhaps be thinking about standing up and joining in the feeding. From the biggest predator out here and their very large kill, let's head across to one that is much, much smaller, but also very cute.
So small, in fact, it's the smallest member of the order Carnivora. It is the dwarf mongoose. And at this time of the day, it's quite an important time of the day for dwarf mongoose. They've made their way towards their den for the evening. So they quite often are found, as these guys are, basking in the last light of the afternoon. And quite a bit of socializing, playing. Although in this strong wind, there might not be too much of that. There might be just more poking heads out of holes, which we're experiencing now. Now they've got the most wonderful Shangaan name, and that is Matsikitsoch, after the sounds that they make. Matsikitsoch! That one heard me. So quite often it's wonderful if you spend time with them. Now, they are very, very social little animals and practice allo grooming like the lions. And of course they are not related to lions, but they are classified as meat eaters, carnivora. And they do eat fruits as well. Most of their diet is made up of insects and grubs, scorpions, the occasional snake. Up, down and around. They should pop up again in a second. There we go. Very, very alert little critters. And when they... Ooh, what's that on his back? Oh, it looks like that one might have escaped the talons of a bird of prey or something. Or is it just a bald spot? He's got a tick on his ear. Yep. Oh, another one out the other side. Now they've got to be very, very, very alert to everything around them. Because being so small, you end up on the radar of a lot of different other predators. And Vera says, my goodness, aren't the mongoose cute? Indeed they are, Vera. A very complex social structure. So they have an alpha pair, and only the alpha pair breed. The rest of the mongoose look after the babies and the alpha pair. Now, this particular group is one of our more habituated groups that we can sit quite close to like we are now and watch them. And the original collective noun for a mongoose in colonial English, it comes from India and the common mongoose, and it's called a business because they all look like they're about some sort of business, the mongoose. So a business of mongoose. Sorry I've gone so silent. I've spotted something. I'm just waiting for it to land. If it lands. It's a stork. It looks like a stork-eye fly. It's quite a weird creature. Oh, is it a stork-eye fly? Okay, so Jean-Ray, on the edge of this very well-eaten peltiforum, it was up to a bit higher. It's either a stork-eye fly, I think it's on there. Oh, no, it's just come out a little bit. Let me just try to figure out. I think it's maybe. Are you on the back one or the front one? Front, okay. So up to the right. I think it's. No, just slowly. Sorry, guys, I will find it now. Oh, there we go. Did it take off?
Yeah, something's buzzing in the back. Can't see what.
Oh no, did it take off? I'd be so sad if it took off. Let me go have a closer look. Oh, no, it's not there anymore. It was on the Y. No, it has taken off. Oh, well, there we go. Sorry, I really do like the bugs, and they're starting to come out now. Oh, but look who's watching us so attentively. And Chris is wondering, do these mongoose smell? They can smell. It's not too offensive, but how they scent mark their territory is by anal pasting. So they use their anal gland to mark. And you can actually see the claws on that little guy. And those are very, very sharp, and they use them to dig up little grubs and other burrowing insects or arachnids. Oh, yes. Little pink nose. It looks like the majority of them are down already, and that could be because of this cold weather. If the sun was out a bit more and there was less wind, you'd probably find there'd be a bit more socializing and grooming around the termitaria before going to bed. But at the moment, just one adult keeping a vigil. Now, James Duncan's asking a very interesting question. Are they related to weasels? Now, James, I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm trying to remember. Weasel is a mustelid. Oh, my taxonomy is a bit rough. I'll double check that for you, James. I'm trying to remember. They definitely fall in the same order, so in that sort of term they are related, but then so is a lion. And let me just remember. Sorry, I'm just trying to... not directly related to weasels, if I remember correctly. Weevils are mustelidae, and these are hesperidae. Oh, let me just undo. We don't get any. We only get one weasel out here, the African striped weasel. So, I mean, they're very loosely, long time ago related, but weasels are mustelidae, and the dwarf mongoose is oh, my pronunciation, hepstelidae. My pronunciation might be completely off, but no, not directly related to weasels, James. Now, I've actually seen Herpestidae. There we go. Herpestidae. Now, Andreen is wondering, are they bothered by ticks and mites? Yes, but less so than other animals because of their social grooming. So they have their friends to take off the ticks and mites that might be on their body. Oh, there we go. There's a few more popping in and out. So we just said that only the alpha pair breeds. And David and Napa is wondering, so what happens if another female mongoose has babies? Will they be killed? Yes, generally the alpha female will then kill those babies. And there's a couple of different reasons for this. It's possibly to ensure that the best genetics, and she's obviously the best mother or the most reproductive mother. And life's tough out in the bush. And probably the business probably can't afford to raise multiple sets of young at a time. So that's why they only one female will breed. Oof, we're going to have a beautiful sunset in a little bit. Oh, and the mongoose is about to the last one. It looks like it's about to duck down the hole. Heads down, bottoms up. Incredibly jumpy today. Whoop, and off they go. So let's do the same. Oh, there's the sun. As I said, lots of dust in the air, and that's what you can see there. And I think in about 20 minutes or so, there could be quite a spectacular sunset scene. It's nearly time for the first layer. Actually, let me rephrase, it is time for the first layer. So even though it's been quite hot during the day today, there's still this cold wind coming from the south. And of course, being so small, we mentioned that dwarf mongoose has lots of different predators, and Mandinga is wondering, do pythons ever go in to those burrows to prey on them? They definitely do, but the mongoose are quite quick, and a group of mongoose would actually mob a python if they managed to catch him. There we go, well spotted. I was looking at the kudu on the side of the road. Here we go, female giraffe. A couple through there. Oh, there we go. Disappearing into the bush willow thickets. Next one on its way. Oh, disappeared into the thickets. Well, it looked like there was some kudu up ahead as well. Oh, there's a third giraffe, male giraffe. And a fourth giraffe, it looks like, behind that one. Ah, Susie and 5 others say stop. Now, a stop game means I've got to find you 10 interesting facts around the vehicle. And you've got to try and mix them up. But we'll watch the giraffe while we can. Or what little we can see of them through the thickets. I could see 4 in total. Now, the stop game becomes a lot easier during the summer months than it is in the winter months. There we go, we can just see the male giraffe's legs through the bush. Or under the bush, rather. Here we go. Hello, big man. Oh, funny looking creatures, giraffe. Now, even giraffe will be a bit jumpy and a little bit more cautious in this wind. Although I think he's just checking us out for now. He was looking in the direction that the females went into the thickets. Now looking back at us. So as much as I would love to play the stop game here, in this wind those giraffe would definitely take off. So let's try do it a little bit later. And I don't want to scare the poor giraffe. So while we continue on to see what else is out and about, let's go back to Jamie and the incredible Nkuhumas.
Still enjoying these incredible scenes as the Nkuhumas fight over what little is left of the buffalo carcass. It was a tiny buffalo, or young buffalo, probably about a year old, which means that there's not much meat between 6 hungry adult lions and 8 little cubs. I think one cub has got the right idea. Oh, there's still a lot of aggression between these lionesses. So obviously they haven't had much time to actually feed on this kill. And Mark, I think it's a combination of things. I think they're growling more because it is a smaller kill, yes. I think that is part of the reason. I also don't think they had access to much of the kill initially. I think the male probably chased them off and ate most of it, just judging by normal male behavior. And perhaps they'd actually only just got a chance to feed or just before we arrived. But you are right, there's less, because it's a smaller kill, there's less space between the lionesses, and therefore they're angrier with each other as they start to feed, because they are more in each other's personal space. Little cub, that is not the place I'd choose to be with an angry lioness, although I suppose she's not my mom. It's a different sort of approach. This little cub's just bored now. Wants to play more than anything else. See them munching away. Now what I did want to show you, there you go, you can see it was a young buffalo. Just the whole picture of this scene in its entirety. Young buffalo, the male at the back. Oh, all of a sudden they're all up and moving. Ellen in Arkansas, I think I've got the gist of your question. I apologize, my ability to hear things at the moment, hear your questions is not great, so do forgive me if I get it wrong or if I get your name wrong. I'm not doing it intentionally. I know, of course, Ellen from Arkansas. Ellen's name I know, but just for all future questions, if I do get it wrong, oh cute, I do apologize. Aww. Now, Ellen, yes, I think there's a very good chance that this buffalo and the one that was chasing the lioness come from the same herd. As to whether or not they are directly related, it is possible. It is a young buffalo, and there is a chance, we've seen it before, where mothers come to defend their calves. Oh, one goes and then the other. Like father, like son, or daughter. I think that's one of the little girls, actually. Like father, like daughter. What a beautiful picture. So, Ellen, it's possible. Might have been a buffalo coming back to try and defend the calf. Buffalo very often fight back. Baring those fierce teeth. Aren't they terrifying? But of course, we will never know for sure in terms of this poor buffalo's history. It just goes to show. We always talk about the fact that on a hot day, lions are not going to be up to much. The Nkuhumas continue to prove us wrong about that again and again. This is not the first time they've hunted in the middle of the day, the hottest time of the day, especially when there's this amount of wind, which is exceptionally helpful in terms of keeping them going. What an incredible scene. I find it incredible how the little cubs bravely growl back at their mothers or at their aunts whenever they're feeding like this. I always find it astounding that they have that instinct to be so brazen, and that I suppose at the same time also that knowledge that although there's lots of growling and lots of anger, it's not really going to hurt them in a big way, and that they're going to have to learn to fight for their place at the kill, or they'll never get anything to eat. I find that fascinating, that instinct is there from the moment they start joining in with the pride's kills. Still can't believe how big the cubs have got. Another big yawn from the male. Often, there we go. Those yawns are a prelude to getting up. Wonder where he's getting, if he's going to move though, or if he's just going to stop and have a quick scratch behind the ear. Oh, go on to the female. She's got a nasty injury. Oh, it's not the female, it's a cub. Now hold on, before we get too worried about this, I think this is mostly blood, but that looks like it was a nasty scratch from that's happened to that little cub. Oh, there we go. Always slightly more aggression when the male and females are involved. He's much more tolerant of the cubs than he is of the females. Sorry, that's a nasty injury on the little cub. I'm trying to work out if that's just blood or if that is... I think it is just a little bit of blood. It probably has a nick or a scratch that bled quite a lot and has dampened the fur, and it makes it look... So that's not all raw skin. See how much more aggressive he is with the females rather than the males? Oh, sorry, the females rather than the cubs. That sentence makes much more sense. And that's because they were direct... Oh, smack! Jilly in York was saying if the Birmingham boys fathered both sets of cubs, why did one pride suffer and the other did not? And I assume you mean suffered from mange, as the Styx cubs did. It could be for any particular reason. One, it might actually be, oh, one of those cubs is going to get a smack soon because they've got the best feeding spot. Look how tolerant he is with them. It's amazing. The lionesses were not allowed near that carcass. Oh look, it's got blood on both sides. Maybe it's just blood from the buffalo. It could be. Sorry, Jilly. My thoughts all over the place at the moment. Jilly, it could be that the Styx are genetically predisposed to being more vulnerable. It might be that they have slightly weakened immune systems. We've often spoken about the fact that we thought that at least one of them was a carrier of TB or tuberculosis. It could also be that the sticks didn't get it from one of the Birmingham boys. They could have. In fact, there's a distinct possibility, but we don't know exactly what it was. They might have got unlucky enough to sit in the wrong patch of soil and picked it up. Personally, I think there might be a slight genetic lack of resistance to the mange itself that might have made them slightly more vulnerable, but I won't ever be able to prove that, and I won't ever know that for sure. I'm still not entirely convinced this is mange on the male. It's possible, but have we actually confirmed that? I don't think we have. There's some disagreement about what it might be. I don't necessarily think the Birmingham boys are responsible for the mange that the Sticks cubs contracted and that they died of, or a lot of them died of. It's just one of those natural unlucky things. The Sticks got unlucky, the Nkuhumas are luckier. There are just so many dangers out here to the wild animals. Their lives are so tough. I need to just hop onto the Game Drive channel very quickly. I mean, speaking about dangers, of course, this poor little buffalo is a prime example. Luckily, Brent has one that is still very much alive.
This is about the fourth herd of buffalo we've seen today. And they're heading towards Sydney's waterhole. This is the biggest herd we've seen today so far. So we just jumped up ahead of them and we've now stopped as they move towards us. You can still hear the chirping of the oxpeckers. And what I'm hoping is these buffalo sort of part around us, which should happen from where we've positioned ourselves. So we literally get surrounded. As I said, this looks to be a bigger herd than we saw earlier. Earlier, probably 150 to 200. This looks like it could be closer to 300, maybe even more. Dark Tranquility would like to know, with a young buffalo, is it possible to tell its gender by its horns? Not really, until they're probably like 2 years old or so. You do need to look for the sort of obvious bits to tell the gender on the younger buffalo. There they come again. Oh, there's quite a few of them. And there we got the bemused chew. Chai Connie says she heard that the skin on a buffalo's neck is 2 inches thick. And is that to protect them from the lions? 2 inches sounds a bit too thick for me. I'd say it's probably a half an inch, maybe an inch on the bigger bulls. But that's pretty much the same throughout, apart from the sort of soft spots under the armpits and that. And it's not only more so to protect them from thorns and bushes and things like that than it would be from lions. And as we say that, the herd is breaking through the bushes towards us. There we go, you can see all the way from there, and I think this is a much bigger herd, and as I said, we're hoping they're just going to sort of surround us while we sit here quietly. What you found there? That one, there we go, found some grass. Literally starting to pour out either side of us at the moment. Now, if anyone is wondering what a herd of buffalo smells like, it literally smells like cows. So a very, very similar smell. So any of you spent any time on a farm or from a farm, it's a very, very similar smell, sort of a big herd of cattle. There we go. You can see them now. The first crossing on the left. Right. In about 5 minutes or so, we'll be completely surrounded. We're literally about to part around us now. There's some passing right next to us on the right, and they're literally just we're gonna be an island in the middle of the buffalo. Oh, that one's found a good spot to have a scratch. Go back, look at that. Oh yes. Oh no, she stopped now, but then I'm quite sure that might attract another buffalo to have a scratch on it as they walk past. No? I'm just going to keep quiet and ask Andre to turn up the ambient sound so you can just hear the sound of their hooves. Quite a bit bigger of a herd than the one we had earlier. Now the one problem is we're downwind of them, so they're actually kicking up quite a bit of dust that's blowing right into our faces. Now what was that moving behind the buffalo? Got him. Where? There! Or her, maybe. Hyena. I just saw something there. Now that hyena doesn't look like it's hunting the buffalo. But we haven't seen a hyena in so long. I got quite excited. Heading to the north. Let's try to see if we can get a closer look at the hyena. I know a lot of you are really missing our Juma clan. And it could be one of them. Excuse me, buffles. Coming through. Hyenas to see. Excuse me, excuse me. Bye, buffs. So it should be popping out up ahead of us here somewhere. Here we go. Oh, it's going to pop across the road and into Buffles Hook. Hello, Howard. Now, Howard, of course, is not that individual hyena's name. It's a nickname in our family for all Howards. All hyenas are Howard, whether they be male or female. Let's try to get a little bit closer. In certain parts of Africa, hyenas will hunt buffalo. I've actually seen them do it before as well in Botswana. Oh. And the last glimpse of the hyena disappearing. We're going to keep heading now to the east, see what else might be out and about. I'm just very happy we got to see a hyena. dear. That wasn't good. Fortunately, Opal is back tomorrow.
Sorry about that. For some reason, Brent disappeared off your screens entirely, but as you know, bringing you scenes from the African bush sometimes, well, live in high definition, sometimes comes with its complications. Luckily for you, we are still here with the amazing Nkuhumas, and I was about to reposition to try and figure out where we can go and get a slightly better view, because as night starts to fall, we are back on Wendy, which means, drumroll, we can use the, well, hopefully, before I speak too soon, we can use the infrared lights to stay with the cubs and the rest of the pride after dark. Isn't that exciting? So we won't have to leave this time just because it's getting dark. We've got infrared. We were just in the process of making sure it was all up and working. So now let's see, where should we go? Since the male has moved the cubs, alright, let's just stay here for one more moment because one of the vehicles is moving out, which means we can go and take his spot. We'll just wait. Rather than have two engines on in any kind of a sighting like this, it's always nicer just to only have one on at a time. The funniest part of that entire buffalo carcass move, where the male picked it up and moved back, was the fact that there was still a cub tucked inside the cavity of the ribs. And just by the way, having re-examined that blood on the little cub, it's definitely not an injury. It is most definitely just residual blood from one of the females' chin that she dribbled across the back. The reason I know that for absolute certainty is that Jerry saw it happen. Okay, now we can reposition and get a much nicer view. Much nicer view. Kirsty's trying to ask me something. I apologize, everybody. I definitely have no communication at the moment. So if it's a question, I do apologize. If you're sending questions through and we're not answering them, it's chances are I can't hear them at all. So we do apologize. Oh, I think this might actually be probably one of the best spots to stop and have a look quickly. We can always shuffle around as we go along. But for now, we've got a view of the carcass and a view of the females at the back. The little cubs all snuggled together. It's amazing how the females know that they will not be tolerated by the male, but the cubs are not too fussed at all. And are more than content to feed alongside dad number 3, whichever particular dad number they've given him. I also think it would be interesting to wonder or to know whether or not cubs instinctively know that familiar males are okay and any strange males are to be feared, or if perhaps they only know to fear them through body language, or if there is another way that they can tell. I mean, look at that. You are a brave little cub. Showing its teeth to dad. I'm interested. I'd be interested to know exactly. It does fall down to that nature versus nurture argument. There's so much that we've watched as we've watched these cubs grow up, and because, I mean, we spend probably an unprecedented amount of time with this particular pride and with lion cubs. I'd say there are very few places in the world, unless you were a doctorate student or something similar with one pride of lions, I would say there's very, very few places in the world where you could spend this much time with the one particular group of lions every day and see the cubs growing up. Actually, come to think of it, we're a veritable source of research material, actually. But to spend as much time as we do means that we've learned so much of what is learned behavior and instinctive behavior from the cubs. I'm chuckling at the one trying to get between the buffalo's legs, but it just couldn't quite manage. Or perhaps a headrest instead. No, I'm just going to lick the buffalo's leg for a while. It's also instinctive. Might even be a nice way of cleaning its face a little bit. Now, Deb in Connecticut, you were wondering how close the lions are to the waterhole. The answer is they are about 300 yards, no, less than that, 250 yards from one waterhole, but that is Treehouse Dam, not the Juma Dam where the camera is. So most likely if they do go for a drink, it'll be at Treehouse Dam rather than Juma Dam. We're probably about, I would say probably close to 750 meters away from the Vuyatela Dam, probably even further, but a good 750 meters away from where they were left this morning during one of our rehearsals. You might even have seen them on the dam camera this morning or last night, but they're quite a lot further from there than they are from Treehouse Dam. Look at you, little one. Aren't you bold? Time to go mountaineering again. Meal time is over. Milk bar is closed. Back to the jungle gym. Ah, perfect toilet spot, I suppose. It's not that easy a thing to climb, this termite mound, apparently. Little cubs scrambling their way up. And off he goes on a bold adventure. I think quite clearly I was wrong about the fact that the male had eaten first before the females, because he clearly, when he stood up, he was quite empty-bellied and quite hungry as he growled and pushed the lionesses away, and he has been feeding ever since. So much for that idea. That might have been perhaps, lioness calling to one of the cubs, perhaps the one that went adventuring on the termite mound. He's not that empty-bellied. He has eaten a little bit. And Shane, it's lovely to have you on board with us. Shane said this is so calming and relaxing to watch. And for the most part, absolutely, the African bush is a calming and relaxing place to be. But Shane, if you have spent, I'm not sure how long you've spent watching these live safaris, perhaps you're new to our live safaris, I can tell you that things can change in an absolute heartbeat and go from relaxing to heart-racing, heart-stopping moments even. We've had moments like that with the live buffalo kills. Look at her. She's calling to it. Like a concerned mother telling a child to be careful on the playground equipment. Oh, he's now decided to climb into the false marula. Oh, no, maybe that was a little bit too brave. And a gentle bounce back down. as we wait for night to fall and to switch on our infrared, let's head across to Brent, who's got one of the diurnal animals.
There we go. A donkey forgot to take off his pajamas, or just put his pajamas on the striped bottom of a Birchall's zebra. Grazing away. Another one about to come join. Now, the zebra are not the only animals we have around us. There's a naughty elephant who has blocked the road. Actually pushed a tree over the road, which it's busy feeding on now. Now, the picture might be a little bit dark, but we're not going to put any lights on with these animals. It's quite pleasant to be surrounded by elephants and zebras. They're different noises mixing. Zebra's moving off. Heading the same direction we want to go. And there's our Friday evening traffic jam. And it's a bit bigger of a traffic jam than normal because the elephants have pushed that tree down. Maybe she'll push it off when she's finished feeding, but I highly doubt it. And that strong wind has picked up again. Made it quite chilly. Just try to get a little bit closer to the elephants. Naughty, you didn't remove the tree after you pushed it onto the road. So there's the tree that's been pushed onto the road. It's like a little knob thorn. There's still quite a few eddies around. So as I said, we're not going to put any lights on these animals. It's already quite dark. So unfortunately that's as light as we can go. And I mean there's elephants to the left of us and to the right of us. And it's just incredible to sit and listen to the sounds of them feeding. And to listen to the sound of Gendre's blanket, which Gendre didn't think it was going to be cold tonight. He didn't bring any jerseys. So he has wrapped a black rubbish bag around his legs. So if you hear any crinkle crinkle, it's Gendre's blanket. Okay. Yeah, it's too dark, unfortunately. I think we're going to change our direction. Hi, Matt Man. Matt Man says, do elephants' tails serve a purpose? I doubt they help with balance. Well, I agree with you 100-fold, Matt Man. They definitely don't help with balance. And what they do help with is keeping parasites, or not parasites as such, but flies away from their bottoms. Now, there are certain species of bot flies that will lay their eggs in the lower intestine of an elephant, and their larval stage will actually feed off the feces inside the elephant. So that's the tails there to try and minimize the amount of bot flies that can get in there. Hold on. So now we have to go through the bush because that elephant has pushed the tree down over the road. It's a bit too risky for me to try and get out and move it with an elephant still feeding on it. Okay, so while I try to find a way to get through here, let's go back to Jamie and the Nkuhuma pride.
The Nkuhuma pride, as they set about feeding on this buffalo, one little cub has given up all pretense of pulling from the ground and has climbed right on top of the carcass itself. As you can see, everything's changed colour, and that's because we are now viewing this in infrared light, which gives us the perfect opportunity for our newer viewers to sit and watch these amazing cubs without in any way compromising their safety by putting a spotlight on them. Now, chances are they would be absolutely fine at this point. They've got 5 adult lionesses and 1 adult male around. However, it is a policy that when cubs are young and when they're at their most vulnerable, and it makes total sense, that we will not in any way add an extra level of a distraction to them. And the same applies for leopard cubs, hyena cubs, and any sort of diurnal animal. And what that means is that with this infrared light, we can now sit and enjoy moments that we might not otherwise have been able to experience. Now, the last time I sat with this pride in infrared light was in pure darkness. Where are you sneaking to? Aha! Going to catch a lion cub climbing up a termite mound. And the last time we did this, Dave and myself, we were sitting in absolute pitch blackness, and the entire Nkuhuma pride started roaring, including the cubs. Although calling what the cubs was doing roaring is a little bit of a stretch of the imagination, but it was utterly adorable. Cousin hug. Oh, it was a truly eerie, unnerving, and yet at the same time awesome experience, because we absolutely could not turn on the vehicle lights. I couldn't see one single lion except in my monitor where the camera was pointing, and at the same time I could hear them roaring all around me right next to the vehicle. That's not the first time I've listened to lion roars in the dark, but it was the first time I've listened for that long without shining a spotlight every now and again to check up on where they were. That was a truly, I think, one of the highlights of my life in the bush so far, especially watching the cub roar on my monitor, not being able to see them, and the little sounds of them going row, 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 imitating the adults. It was adorable. Flowing Mane, who is a new viewer, it is very special to hear your name. And Flowing Mane, I hope that you become as addicted to this as so many of our viewers are around the world. You wanted to know how we know how old the cubs are. First of all, just generally from knowing the growth rates of lions from their birth until they are fully grown. But this is the joy of Safari Live, and Flowing Mane, you'll get to experience this if you do stay with us, is we've actually known these cubs since they were a few days old. Now, we don't know their exact birth date, but we do know when the lionesses disappeared from the pride, when they started denning, when they moved off, and with the youngest set of cubs, we actually encountered the lioness in her den site, and very, very carefully and entirely ethically, we sat and watched her from a comfortable distance, one at a time, totally quietly, as those little cubs learned to move about, to open their eyes, and for their ears to lift up for the first time. We were watching the younger set of Nkuhuma cubs when their ears were still flat against their heads. They hadn't even lifted up yet. So that's how we know how old the little cubs are. Amazing. This is such an unbelievable view. There is no way on earth we would get to watch this if we didn't have the infrared. For the first time, we can actually follow the lives of the cubs after dark. The lionesses, of course, and the lions we can follow, but not when they're with the cubs. Oh, hey, Dispatch. It's been a while since we've heard your name. Dispatch Griffin says, oh wow, when did we get infrared capabilities? Now, Dispatch Griffin, when did I last hear from you? Oh, that was a while ago. I remember you watched our live lion kill off Hyena Road. I remember that. If time didn't blend so easily into one, I'd be able to help you out. When did we get this, VM? It was just before Kenya, just before Mara. Which was, when was that? 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago? Does anybody know? 2 weeks, really? We stopped 2 weeks ago, so we got it 3 weeks. We got it properly working 3 weeks ago. There we go, Dispatch Griffin. My apologies. My days and my concept of time have all sort of blurred into one. So it was 3 weeks ago that we first started using infrared. We didn't have it on Jigger, so we couldn't use it recently. But we did do late night drives. Actually, Dispatch Griffin, you missed out. You missed out on James and the Mara. You missed out on our drives until 10:30 here at night. The live buffalo kill at the end. There's been lots happening while you've been away, but I'm very glad to have you back. The lionesses have regained the carcass for now. Lots of growling. I'm hoping our male lion might... Those sounds become a lot scarier when you're looking in the darkness rather than in the middle of the day. The lioness is allowed to feed once again. I was hoping that the male would start to roar to hear the rest of the Birmingham boys. Contact call. These vocalizations are amazing. Can you believe that you're watching this happen right here, right now? Incredible. Right, as evening draws to a close, let's head back across to Brent quickly so that he can tell you what he's up to. Perhaps that's him in the distance, the light you're seeing, and we'll catch up with you shortly.
It's not me. Not me. We're in the north, they're in the south. We are trying to see what we can find. There's not much happening this strong wind there. We took a while to get through those elephant. And I was hoping to maybe bump into a leopard or 2 or 3 or 4, but alas, it seems like the leopards have been a bit scarce recently. But we have had the incredible NKuhumas. Hopefully tomorrow morning, though, maybe Queen Karula meanders back or Tingana's out on his territorial patrols. I'm gonna slowly meander back towards camp. Maybe we find a bush baby or 2, but in case we don't, from Jeandre and myself, it's been wonderful having you on the back of the vehicle. So exciting. Lion, buffalo, buffalo everywhere. And I wonder if they're going to hang around. That should keep the Nkuhumas nice and based on Jumo if we have all the buffalo. But let me not keep you from the wonderful Nkuhumas any longer. So back to Jamie, VM, and the Nkuhumas.
I have to say, I don't think the Nkuhumas are going to be here when we start again on the sunrise safari tomorrow morning, but you never know. They've got full bellies, and they might decide they're actually too lazy to disappear off anywhere. This is a small carcass, though, and it is all but eaten at this point. The 5 lionesses, 8 cubs, and 1 adult male lion have made short work of that young buffalo. The lioness is still trying to make sure that they get as much meat as they possibly can, with one little cub clambering on top of the carcass to join them. So all in all, it's been a very vocal kill, this one. Oh, look at that little one lying at the back. Still more growling. The sound effects this afternoon have been truly extraordinary. And there's nothing like reminding yourself what fearsome predators these animals truly are when you're sitting in the dark listening to this. There's still a part, oh look at the back. There's still a part of us that instinctively knows that nighttime is not our time of day and that it belongs to the lions. Immediately as a darkness descends, that sound takes on a whole different level. Cubs playing at the back. The Nkuhumas once again providing us with a truly extraordinary afternoon. Now, Sherry, while we watch one little cub climb on top of the buffalo carcass and basically stand on a lioness's head, yes, a cub can get in the way and can get injured. We saw that happen with one of the older set of cubs when that buffalo was killed just off Hyena Road a couple of months ago, where the cub walked away from that with a very, well, I say walked away from it, limped away from it, with quite an uncomfortable, clearly uncomfortable looking injury to its hip. Healed quickly, and the cub was absolutely fine, but yes, they can suffer relatively serious injuries. It's unusual for a cub to truly be badly injured. But what sometimes happens is, especially with older male cousins, when they reach about 1.5 years and they're much bigger and stronger than their younger cousins, they can occasionally do actually really serious damage to the cubs, but that's quite rare. For the most part, it's a short smack, perhaps a little scratch, maybe a little blood drawn, but for the most part, the cub bounces away quite happily and forgets about it in a couple of moments. It is a tough life, though, being a lion cub. They really do make them incredibly tough out here. Well, unfortunately, we have reached the end of our sunset safari, and it is a time for us to say goodbye to you all. So a very big thank you to VM for all of his fantastic camera work, as well as to the lovely ladies, to Kirsty and Rebecca in Final Control, our tech team, and most importantly to all of you watching across the globe. I actually don't want to distract you for too long from these amazing sounds of the lions, so I think once we do reach the sort of 10-second mark, I'm just going to be quiet and let the lions sign you out. Bye bye everybody. I will see you on the sunrise safari.